This is one of the cruelest stories you will ever see. It's about the murder of a little boy's dog. Little Stymie gets his dog, Pete, kidnapped by the dog catcher. When he runs up there and asks for his dog back, crying his eyes out, the man says, "If you don't have $5 in a half an hour down at the pound, I'm going to kill your dog." Stymie prays to God, and the money appears to come from heaven. He rushes down to the pound, where this man is putting Pete into a gas chamber to kill him. Stymie comes running over and says, "The Lord gave me the money. Can I have my dog back?" The man says it's too late. He's dead by now. The most amazing thing was, this show was made for kids. It's called The Little Rascals, and the episode was The Pooch. Welcome back, tough kids, to our latest episode, Tough Kid, Animal Lovers. Before we dive into today's video about how loving a pet instills such virtues as compassion and empathy, I first want to thank all my subscribers for your loyal support. This is our 20th video, and all of your positive comments really lift my spirits and keep me going forward. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. It's all free. The way YouTube algorithms work, the more subscribers, the more people who hit the like button and comment, the more the videos come up on people's recommendation list. And that really helps grow the channel and spread the message about being resilient and staying strong through adversity, no matter what your age. Okay, you filthy animals, back to today's video. Tough Kid, Animal Lovers. Petey was a pit bull, the most misunderstood and abused animal on this planet. As you can tell, I have a fondness for the pit bull breed. The Tough Kid generation grew up 40 years after the Great Depression, but we share much in common with Spanky, Stymie, Alfalfa, and Darla, and the entire Our gang. We weren't poor, we certainly weren't rich, and just like the Rascals, we were always outdoors, unsupervised. We were also getting into trouble with adults, but that's how we formed our mud and blood bonds with the kids from the neighborhood. It became us against the world. The story opens with a hungry Stymie, Spanky, and Pete the Pooch ordering food at a diner. The problem is, they have no money for it. That doesn't stop them from dreaming of having a beefsteak, a couple of pork chops. Pete's licking his lips here. Spanky says, "Don't order spinach." And he says, "I want a piece of chocolate pie." You can't hear it, but I'll say what he says. He goes, "I like chocolate cake," like this, like that. In case you're wondering why the boys are all muted, it's because there's Little Rascals copyrighted music playing in the background, and I don't want YouTube to hit me with a copyright infringement. So they're muted. Anyway, the boys and their pooch want all kinds of food, and the man comes out and says, "Got any money for it?" Kids are like, "Nope." So the man's like, "How do you expect to eat if you have no money?" Stymie's like, "Well, we don't expect it, we just want it." I love the faces that kid makes. He's adorable. Tells him, "Come on, get out of here, scram." Stymie brotherly grabs Spanky, and Pete gets off the stool, and they go and weigh their options. They keep repeating over and over again that they're hungry. People who grew up during the Tough Kid generation can totally relate to this scene. Not a parent around, just with your friends, trying to figure out a way to get money, to get something to eat. We maybe even went and got a part-time job just to get something to eat. This is totally relatable if you grew up in the 70s and 80s. So back to our story. He looks over at Petey and he sees a hot dog. And then he says, "Don't worry, Petey, I'm not going to eat you." And then Petey does something that every animal lovers, we've all had done to us before, and that's the love and the affection of an animal kissing us, licking our faces. Stymie goes to a nice woman's house, and she says, "Are you hungry, little boy?" And he makes the mistake of saying, "My dog's hungry." He should have just said it was for himself. And then she goes and gets some food, but for his dog. He realizes he made a mistake. He's like, "Look at him, damn." Actually, he says, "Shucks." She comes out with dog biscuits. She's kind enough. Most adults in the Little Rascals aren't very nice. That's why they form their bonds. Something our generation can relate to. He gives his buddy Spanky the dog biscuits for Petey, and then he has Petey do some tricks. Speaking of tricks, The caption at the bottom of this newspaper says, "Go get it. John Mastandrea shows what his dog Boogie can do in a workout at Van Voorst Park." That picture got me on the front page of the Jersey Journal. The photograph still hangs up in my house. Here comes the nemesis, the evil man, the dog catcher from the city pound, and he sees other people's dogs. And Simon sees it too. He sees how this man is just cruelly loading up all these animals to go down to the pound. Now, Stymie's been in a fight with these boys, and in order to curry favor with them, he comes up with this idea. He's going to save their dogs, and they're going to let him back in the gang. So he tells Petey, "Quick, Petey, go hide." Which he does, but then Petey comes out the other side being he's a dog. So Stymie blocking the tunnel really doesn't help too much. And there goes Stymie to go get all the dogs. It's adorable, this kid. Look at him. The girl's a witness that Stymie was trying to save the dogs and not do something bad with them. And there's Petey. Now here comes the evil dog catcher, and he grabs Pete. Not before Pete doesn't put up a good fight, though. Some might think this was traumatizing for little kids to watch on TV. Wasn't for us. Just made us tougher. When Stymie cries out, "He got Petey," that just taunts me. He's like, "Please, mister, don't take my dog." The man says, "Well, where's his license?" Stymie says, "He doesn't have a license. He just has fleas." Compare this programming to what my kids grew up watching. iCarly and Drake and Josh. 2 generations preparing their children in 2 completely different ways. Then the son of a bitch says, "Well, if you don't have $5 down at the pound in a half an hour, I'm gonna kill your dog." I mean, can you believe this show was for little kids? I remember thinking as a kid, if someone did that to my dog, I'd take out a baseball bat. What kind of impact did this have on us as children? I wanted to get in there and help Stymie kick some ass. I mean, look how heroic this kid is, and the little girl. They're biting and they're clawing, they're Spanky throwing rocks to the guy. Again, we grew up a lot like they did in the Little Rascals. We were tough kids from a young age. Here's the rest of the gang now. They're now on Stymie's side. They see the wicked man stealing the poor dog. Look at the dog in the back there, Petey, barking. The boys grab a bunch of garbage and come over to pelt the man. I mean, we never did anything this drastic, but there were times where kids in the neighborhood growing up would do something similar to this to all help and defend each other. Maybe that should be the next video. Looking back, it was quite heartwarming and courageous at the same time. Look at Spanky winding up, and then there's the throw. Unfortunately, all their efforts in fighting back, in the end, it's tough to beat the man. You need a lot of guts and a lot of luck. I'll say one thing about these kids. They certainly have heroic hearts, something we could all aspire to in life. So the kids try to come up with a plan on how they're going to save Pete the Pooch. The boys are like, "Don't worry, Stymie, we'll get you the $5, which during the Great Depression is probably about $100 today for an 8-year-old kid. And then Stymie does something that you won't see in a TV show today. He prays to God and asks God for the money. Stymie's praying, the money falls onto the street. There's a lot of comic relief in the Little Rascals in order to make the tragedy a little more palatable. And here Stymie says, "Wow, that's what I call service." He's talking to God. The gang all catches up to Stymie. He's like, "Where'd you get the money from?" He's like, "The good Lord sent it to me." Here's the evil man putting poor Pete into the gas chamber. One of the decent adults come over and tell the man, "You can't do that." And he's like, "I'm going to get even with those kids for what they did to me." Imagine that, an adult getting even with children by killing their dog. Here come the gang, running. Spanky keeps tripping. Imagine us as little kids. We're cheering them all on, begging them to run faster, wishing we were them. Evil son of a bitch saying, "It won't be long now," just heightening the sense of urgency. Man comes back a second time. The evil person kicks him out again. Here comes the gang though, and look at the look of hope and optimism on Stymie's face. He's like, "Good Lord sent me the money, Mr. Man. Can I have my dog?" It's too late. He's dead by now. Look at Stymie's face. The decent man makes a third appearance, comes into the shot and says, "Don't you worry, don't you cry, little boy. Your dog ain't dead. After we were done shaking and crying our eyes out, we rejoiced when Petey's execution failed from lack of gas in the chamber. And we cheer when the Little Rascals yell, "Sick 'em, Pete!" as he chases down the bad man. Our chests swell with the tough kid pride that the Little Rascals, our friends, fought the man in the name of protecting the innocent, and they won. Their friggin' victory against the cold, harsh system of indifference was our victory. And then we went out and lived our lives accordingly. Tough kids begged their families to adopt stray cats and dogs, found starving on the streets. Every cat we found, we kept. Then came the dogs. There's no better way to teach a child compassion and love than by taking in a homeless animal. Later in life, tough kids went on to become compassionate adults who rescued animals and made them a part of their homes, where their kids would learn compassion and sacrifice. It's not always about you. We'll conclude by saying if you want to honor a pet you've adopted over the years, please leave their name and where you rescued them from right below in the comment section. Boogie, I found at the Johnson Street shelter in Jersey City. Dagny, I found on the streets of Jersey City, to be precise, on the corner of Montgomery and Barrow. Holly from the Popcorn Zoo, and Zuzu from the Southern Ocean County shelter in Manahawkin. Thanks, guys, for saving me. You are still loved and always remembered. I don't know about you, but every dog I've ever had now has either ornament on the Christmas tree or stocking with their name on them. I still hang them all up, and we still put gifts in there from Santa. Today, I have a Luca and a Sunny Boy, but more need to be adopted and saved. And I don't just mean the dogs. So please do your part. It's a decision you'll never regret. And always remember, if your dogs are not waiting for you at the gates of heaven, then keep walking, because that's not heaven. Until next time, tough kids, back is the way forward.